Starting. Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my live Q&A today. Welcome to Saturday, January the 13th, 2018. Dead of the winter. Oh my gosh. Here in Creston, BC today, it's about 32 degrees Fahrenheit. We're at about 0 Celsius. We had some snow last night, ever so little, a little dusting. And here in Creston, it's noon. In New York, it's 2 p.m. Eastern. And so in the next 2 hours, we're going to hit the high of the day. We're going to hit about +2, +3. That's about 36, 37 degrees. And I expect all of our snow from last night will melt off, at least on the streets and the sidewalks. And maybe some of the snow in my driveway will go away because I don't want to touch it. If you've never been here before, this is my channel called Traveling with Bruce. I've got playlists that you can watch on my travels on cruise ships, travels to Europe, Germany, travels to the US, and I've got a number of other playlists out there, how to find a good deal on a cruise, what to pack on a cruise, how to get a good deal, that type of thing, and what's a repositioning cruise, all of that. I also have a playlist called So I Know You Like a Good Story, and in that playlist, I've got some stories that people have said to me, I don't think it's true. I think you're making this stuff up. But no. The stories in my playlist on my So You Like a Good Story, true stories, including one about the Beatles, how my dad made $1 million because of the Beatles in 1964, 65, 66. Unbelievable. Great little story. I think you get a kick out of it. I even have a video I did once where I had a steam bath with Tom Jones in Las Vegas. True story. I had a steam bath with Tom Jones in Las Vegas, and I made a video about it. Because, I mean, after all, if you got a story like that, why keep it to yourself? You might as well share it with everybody. So if you get a chance to look at my playlists, you'll find some interesting videos there. You'll have some fun. I think I now have about 110 or 115 videos up for my channel. So I'm pretty happy about that. And Ruth is here. How you doing, Ruth? You made it from Dallas. How's it going today? I see you there. Tell me, what is your high temperature going to be today? Here in Creston, we're going to be about 35 degrees, maybe 38 in a few hours. I know the other day you're around 40 or something, and it was really windy for you, so I hope your weather is better. If you're just joining the channel, let me know where you're watching me from. Hit the thumbs up button if your signal is coming in okay. Plus, it's a cheap way for me to ask for thumbs ups. It just tells me how many folks were watching live. Love to know. Send me a little text. Tell me where you're at and what your high temperature is going to be, and we'll compare notes and see who's got the hottest temperature going. I did have a viewer on my last Q&A. They were in Florida. They won hands down. They had a 73-degree high. I'll tell you, it's unbelievable. Just saying about my channel, Traveling with Bruce, I'm welcoming all of you who are joining me here. I really appreciate you, the viewers out there. It's fantastic. Ruth is saying in Dallas it's 40 again today, so, not a lot warmer, but hey, it's winter. My subscriber count continues to rise, and I just want to let you folks know, thank you so much for that. Yesterday, we were at 245 subscribers, and I woke up this morning and we were at 250 already, and we're now at 253. So we've broken 250 subscribers and going beyond. We're now headed for 300 subscribers. This doesn't sound like a lot to those of you who follow other YouTubers out there who have thousands and thousands of subscribers, but I just hit my fifth month of being on YouTube the other day. Yesterday was my 5th month on YouTube. Started with nothing. The first 10 subscribers were friends and relatives. And now at 253, this is huge. I think a month ago we were at 75 or 80. So I've tripled my subscriber count in the last 30 days. And it took me 4 months to get 75 subscribers. And in a month, I've gone from 75 to 253. The growth rate is just going. These live broadcasts seem to be catching on. They seem to be working. I open the floor to all of you out there who are watching this channel. If you want to ask me anything about traveling, airplanes, airlines, traveling internationally, domestically, or cruising. And a lot of you regulars know I do a lot of videos about cruise ship, getting on a cruise, finding a cruise, how to get there, what to get, what to do before. I have a list today. It's 2 pages. I have a list today of costs or fees that you could run into if you get on a cruise ship. And the list just keeps getting longer because I keep finding out about more and more obscure fees. And some of you out there really helped me. You've mentioned a couple of these fees that you've run into that I hadn't heard of, or I kind of heard of, but I really don't know what they mean. And I tell you, I'm digging into these websites and these cruise sites to see what other fees are out there. I have a feeling that the days of all-inclusive, those are all gone. My parents and I took a transatlantic cruise back in 1959 to go to Europe, and 1962 to come back to Canada. And in those days, you just had a fare, just, so much for your ticket. And that included basically everything. Although I do recall, I think it was a 6-year-old, my mother spoiled me one day. It's amazing how some of these memories come back to you. Like, I'm 62 and I'm thinking about this memory 56 years ago. I remember you could buy a milkshake on the cruise, and it was they had those stainless steel cups, and they put the real ice cream in there, and then they put in the milk and the chocolate sauce or whatever they're adding to it, and then they would put the thing in the mixer, and you'd hear it mixing away, and then they would give you the milkshake in a glass container. They pour the metal container into the glass container. Then they give you both because the metal container still had like a third or a quarter left of more milkshake. Well, my mother gave me 25 cents, a quarter, a Canadian quarter, to pay it. And so she gave it to me to give to the gentleman behind the counter. I swear to you, the quarter was the size of my hand. I remember the giant coin that I got, which was a 25-cent quarter. And I looked at this thing and I handed it to the guy, and then he handed me my mother, these 2 containers with this, I don't know if it was a strawberry milkshake or a vanilla milkshake or chocolate. I can't remember the flavor. Well, it was massive. So that was a memory I recall. And so on the ocean liner, yes, you could spend extra money on the ocean liner. My parents, they didn't have enough cigarettes with them. They would go to the this little shop on the retail level. They could buy a pack of cigarettes there. Although I think my parents were so frugal in those days, I'm sure my dad had a carton with them for the crossing. There's no way he was going to be buying cigarettes on board an ocean liner. I mean, God forbid, it would be double the price that he could buy them for. Plus, at the time, he was with the Canadian Army, and when he wanted to buy cigarettes or alcohol or anything, he could buy this stuff at the forget the name of the store on base. Is the KP store? There's a store on base that the folks in the military could go, and you would buy everything duty free. Because the government of Canada, to show their appreciation to the soldiers who were putting their lives on their line for their country, they would allow them to buy alcohol and cigarettes and other basics for virtually no markup and no duties. And so, a pack of cigarettes in Germany for my father, I'm not even sure what the numbers are, but let's say he paid 50 cents a pack. I'm guessing quarter a pack, whatever it was. For a German to buy the same pack of cigarettes at a store in Germany would be 5 times the money, and they couldn't afford it. I mean, in those days, in 1959 to 62, Germany was just coming out of the Second World War reparations, and they were still broke. And my father had left Germany in 1952 to come to Canada, and was glad to get out. But be able to come back with his wife and 2 children as a member of the Canadian Armed Forces, getting paid Canadian dollars and buying stuff duty free like gasoline for his car, smokes and alcohol, coffee, sugar, chocolates, you name it. Oh, living the life. They were considered wealthy by the other relatives in Germany. So let's see who else is here. Is anyone else coming in? So far, Ruth is here. I see a few other viewers out there. If any of you are watching right now, let me know you're here. Tell me where you're from. Where are you located? Are you in the States? Are you in Europe? Are you in Canada? Tell me what your high temperature is going to be today. Ask me anything you want about cruising, and I'll be happy to talk about it. Today's topic, as I mentioned a little earlier, I'm going to talk about cruising costs that you can run into for your basic costs that you can't avoid, and then the optional fees that you could run into. And of course, as a as a savvy cruiser, if you're going to be a savvy cruiser and get the most value for your money, uh, here are some charges you're going to try to avoid or find a way around maybe or minimize. But hey, if you've just won the lottery and you got unlimited money, or your parents are paying for it, maybe it's a honeymoon and it's a gift, enjoy and pile on the tab because it can get up there. You're probably noticing, as I am in the last, oh gosh, several years, 5 years in particular, cruise lines have tried to keep their base fare, the so-called advertised fare, the amount that you see on these internet ads, as at a low a price as possible to get you to at least call your travel agent or try to book the cruise yourself. If you go to like Norwegian Cruise Line's website or All in America or Royal Caribbean or whatever, you'll get in there and you'll see the promo pricing and you'll see discounts offered to you if you're from the military or if you're a policeman or a fireman or you're a senior citizen or you're a repeat cruiser. I mean, there's all kinds of deals. But then comes the interesting part, and that is picking your room and picking the kind of room you want. And now they have classifications inside the room classifications. So there's not just a balcony suite anymore. Oh no, there's now 4 or 5 levels of balcony suite. That 5 years ago there was just a balcony suite. There was there were 800 of them, and you just picked one. You had to pick the floor and the room number. Front of the ship, back of the ship, middle of the ship, whatever. No, not now. Oh no, now they've started to segregate these rooms, and so they're trying to get you to cough up an extra $5 a day or $8 a day a passenger. You can move up to this level, or $15 a day you can move up to this, and you'll get extra perks. What used to be free or used to be all inclusive now is offered on an individual basis. So here's a couple of these fees that you're going to run into. The number one fee, of course, is the fare. You can't get around the fare. That whatever the fare is, the fare is. But what room classification is up to you now. And as I was saying just a minute ago, you may find that you want a balcony, and you found a deal on the internet where it said, you worked out the math. So 1 week cruise in the Caribbean, $75 a night in a balcony suite. Oh, fantastic per person, $75. But then the suite you really would like on maybe the 12th level, or the 14th level, the 15th level, more towards the front of the ship or the middle of the ship. That's an extra, $10 a day more per person. So that's $20 a day times 7 days, 140 more. Okay. Well, what else? So now you want you can get a spa room, like with Norwegian. You can pick a balcony that has spa privileges included in it. Well, that's like $150 a week more per person. So now you got to ask yourself, will both of us use it or just one? Should I just buy the spa pass on my own if we just get a lower grade room? How do you play it? Do you take the cheap inside room and then pile on the extras to kind of get more extras and not worry about a room on a balcony or a view on a balcony? I don't know. The other charge, the next one, is port charges and taxes. You can't avoid this. Depending how many times a cruise ship stops, there are port charges every time a cruise ship stops at any place. And I used to live in the Cayman Islands, and in the Cayman Islands, between 3 and 7 cruise ships a day will come into port. And even though in the Caymans, you can't dock your ship at a pier in the Caymans, you have to literally stop the cruise ship about a quarter mile, half a mile off the shore, and drop your anchor there. And then you use your tenders to get your passengers to the shore. You're still using their pier to get the passengers off, and you're using the so-called custom services to pre-clear everybody. There's a per head charge built into your fees and taxes for that port. Same thing in Jamaica, same thing in Labadee, same thing in San Juan, Puerto Rico. It doesn't matter where you go. If you're stopping at U.S. U.S. places, it might cost you more than non-U.S. places. On the other hand, it may be more in the Caymans than in Puerto Rico. So it all varies. We don't really see the itemized charges in the so-called taxes and port charges or fees. It's just a flat number. Use about a rough guide, I'd say 12 to 15% as your rough number as to what that's going to cost you. In New England, though, I was stunned at this. I noticed a cruise on Carnival. It was like a 1 week cruise for $440 $449, $479 for a 1 week deal. I think it was the inside room. The taxes and fees were $235. That's half the fare. Like 50% of the fare went to the charges and fees. Now, if you're in a balcony and you're paying, say, $800 for the week, it's still 200 and something more or less. So it now comes down to more like 20 something percent, but it's still higher than if you're taking a 1 week cruise out of say Fort Lauderdale to the Caribbean. Interesting. Again, Canadian stops, American stops. Each country has its base pricing, customs fees, security fees, and port charges. And now, places like Bahama, they're going to have local fees there just to use their port facilities. And some of these communities, they're frankly overwhelmed with some of these cruise ships that are coming by. Upwards of 5-10 years ago, a big cruise ship would have 2,000, 2,200 passengers. Well, now that's a medium-sized cruise ship. You bring in a big cruise ship, you're talking 4,000, 5,000 passengers. The strain that puts on the town or hamlet or village or small city on the shore is severe, because what we don't think about is there are people there, they buy a coffee at the Starbucks while they're walking around and they just toss the cup. Or they put the cup in the garbage can. They're all good about it. But at the end of the day, when those 5,000 folks leave town, you might have two ships with 2,500 passengers each. The town has to deal with 150 garbage bags of garbage. They got to pay overtime to their sanitation workers and all this sort of stuff. There are certain costs to the city or the town that I hadn't really thought of. I thought of the advantage that restaurants would have and bars would have and the souvenir sellers would have. Yeah, they're all happy. And of course, if you're a landlord with a building in the downtown area where you have a bar and restaurant as your main tenant on the ground floor and a couple of souvenir shops, and and the owner of the business knows that upwards of 5,000 people a day all summer long are going to be walking by the front door, I'm going to charge you more rent because my building is worth more money, but that town is taxing me more. My tax rates went up, business taxes went up. So it just gets passed on. So those of us as travelers, we have these built-in fees that we have to keep in mind. And here on a cruise, these fees are added right even before we get on the ship. So keep an eye on that. You may find a killer deal for a cruise, but you add the taxes and fees in some cases, you might go, wait a minute, whoa, this is only the beginning. I was looking for a deal on a cruise, and all of a sudden I'm up to $110 a night. On a cruise, I haven't even got a drink package. I haven't even figured out my entertainment options, my onshore excursion fees. You got to price it all out. That's why I mentioned these fees today. The next one that you got to keep in mind is tips. I've talked a lot about tips, and it's a big subject. Don't mind people asking me about tip charges and so on. Tipping fees for cruise lines. It's a big deal. The cruise companies have ships coming to around the world, a majority in the U.S. because the cruise market is the largest in America. But the ship may well come into Fort Lauderdale or Miami, Tampa, those kinds of areas. But the ship is not registered in the United States. It's a foreign registry vessel, and that's for tax reasons, for all kinds of reasons, but it's mainly for income tax reasons and also labor laws. If you register a ship in the United States of America, you can literally go from Miami up to Charleston, to Boston, to New York, Philadelphia, back to Miami, and you don't have to go to any foreign country. You can just ply the waters of the United States. There are some cruise ships run by a Norwegian that only do Hawaii. You board the ship in Honolulu, I believe it is, and the ship will go around Hawaii for a week and drop you back off in Honolulu. Check out the prices of those cruises for a 1-week cruise in Hawaii versus a 1-week cruise leaving Miami, going to the Caribbean and back. You'll be shocked. It's like triple the price. Where you can get a balcony for $700-800 in the Caribbean for the Caribbean cruise. That American cruise, all in American, is over $2,000. And the reason, the cruise companies have to hire American citizens to work on the cruise ships, and they have to be paid American wages. And with all the pensions and the unemployment insurance and the holiday pay and the insurance costs, the liability costs are staggering, and all the fees are in U.S. dollars for for that end of that section of Norwegian's cruise line. And so to run a Hawaii cruise out of Hawaii is unbelievably expensive. You can't find a cruise that'll take you from Miami to up to New York, back to Miami. You're not gonna find one. It'll stop in the Bahamas and then go to New York, maybe. But generally it's leaving Miami, heading for the Caribbean to a couple of countries, and then back. Over on Los Angeles, it'll leave LA, it'll go to Mexico and back. Or if the cruise is leaving LA and going to Hawaii, take a look at your itinerary. The day you leave, you're heading to Ensenada, Mexico, which is just south of Tijuana, and then you're going to go from there to Hawaii. Or you're going to Hawaii first, and then you're stopping in Ensenada on the way back. That's a foreign country, Mexico, and the ship line can do that. If it's a foreign registry ship, it must apply an international destination in the trip. Otherwise, it's illegal under the U.S. Maritime Act. And that way, as a foreign registry vessel, because you're not doing exclusive U.S.-only cruises, you're going to foreign countries, you can hire whoever you want on the cruise ship from whatever nationality, and you don't have to worry about pre-clearing these people, paying them U.S. wages. Because if that were the case, every Caribbean cruise that you and I are looking for would run us $2,000 for a week. I can tell you that that'll knock a third of the passengers right out of the market. Because if a cabin now is going to run with tips and fees $5,000-6,000 for a week for a Caribbean cruise, you're better off just flying to a Caribbean destination and taking an all-inclusive 1 week all-inclusive deal out of Cuba or out of Grenada or out of St. Bart's or St. Martin or St. Thomas. Why bother taking a cruise? So the cruises have to be competitive, but the only way they can be competitive is if they have foreign workers, and that gets back to the tip money. The tip money is crucial for the staff on board a cruise ship, the lower end staff, because the wages that they're getting are quite low. If they're getting $5 an hour, that'll be about it, and that includes room and board. So it's $200, $250 for a week of work where you're working 8 to 10 hours a day, lots of hours, but they're getting this tip money that we are being asked to cough up, which is $12 to $15, $17 a day, depending on the cruise line, depending on the classic cabin you have. So it's an area that we can't avoid, but it's a mandatory, it's a necessary fee for the staff to earn a living wage. And of course, a lot of these folks are from third world countries, and they're sending the money home back to the family because these are, you have men and women on board who are married with children, and they're sending money back to the family to support the family back home. So I don't mind paying the tipping at all. Plus, you tip, the service is unbelievable. They spoil you rotten. Paula is here. Old Man Winter's back in Hanover, 30 degrees in Hanover. And welcome, Paula. Lori's here. Hey, Bruce, how you doing? Lori from Moncton, New Brunswick says, on the east coast of Canada, it's been pouring rain for 2 days, plus 16 Celsius yesterday. Supposed to go down to -10 tonight. And with a flash freeze. It should be fun to drive. Oh, man. That means black ice on the roads. That means trees are going to be covered. The individual branches are going to be covered in ice. Makes for beautiful photography if you want to get the camera out, But don't be standing under any of these trees, because if some of those icicles give, guess where they land? They land right here. And you notice in my case, I have no protection. I'm exposed. Got to wear a hockey helmet when I go outside for something like that. Yeah, if you're just joining us, let us know. Let me know where you're from and what your high temperature is today. If you got any questions, drop them on here on the text, and I'll read them to everybody, because a lot of folks watch this video tonight. They'll watch it tomorrow night, next week, as a regular video on my channel. So that's why I read all these comments. Those of you who are wondering, why does he read the comments? We who are here live can see what everyone's saying. I'm doing it for the viewers who are going to catch the video later. And I usually find that for every one person that watches live, upwards of 10, 20, 30 will watch it later. So I got to let them know what I'm reading. Anyway, that's the third fare, the cruise cost. For those of you just joining, I'm reading off cruise costs so you can run to the fare, port charges, tips. Number 4. Well, now we're getting into stuff where you can kind of make it work for you or adjust it. It's called drinks. We all need to drink, people, at least water. We got to be we got to keep hydrated. Don't want to get dehydrated. But then there are those of us who like a nice toddy, like a little cocktail once in a while. And why not? We're on a cruise holiday. Let's enjoy it, right? I've been saying to people out there on my videos and anyone asking, you can bring beverages with you on a cruise depending on what it is. Most cruise lines will not give you a hard time if you have a bottle of wine in, say, your one suitcase and another one in another. My wife and I will go on a 1 week cruise to the Caribbean or Mexico. We'll bring along 2 bottles of wine, even though I'm not a drinker, my wife is. So this is for my wife. She's got 2 bottles of wine for the cruise. I'm a happy guy, happy wife, happy life. And I love drinking I'll show you. This is my drink of choice right here. Caffeine-free Diet Coke, refreshing and cool and bubbly, and yet no caffeine. I don't mind having a regular Diet Coke, but if I drink too many regular Diet Cokes, the amount of caffeine in one of these regular Diet Cokes is equal to like 2 or 3 cups of coffee, and I would just be so wired up. That wouldn't be good. I would have a tough time going to sleep at night. So I like the caffeine-free. I call this, sorry, Coke, I call this brown fuzzy water, because that's all there's left is brown fuzzy water. Cheers. Anyway, I will bring on board, if I can pull it off, I'll bring on board up to 3 dozen of these guys. I'll have, 2 big suitcases, one for my wife, one for myself. So I'll try to shove 1.5 cases in one, 1.5 the other. I kind of like to keep the cans inside the container that they come in, and then move my clothing around it to sort of shield it and protect it. I certainly don't put it in the luggage before I get on an airplane. It's only after I get off an airplane, before I get on the cruise, I'll buy the pop. But if I were a lover of, specialty drinks, like special iced teas or say the Red Bull energy drinks or anything like that, I would buy those as well if I like those, because the cost to buy those items on the ship are a fortune. I mean, a case of my cola here, at a Walmart or at a Costco, I mean, we're talking about 30 to 35 cents a can to buy this stuff. Sure, in some states you have to pay the deposit fee, and I won't get that back because obviously I'm going to leave the empty can behind. But for 30, 35 cents a can all in, I can't beat that deal, because a cola, just a Diet Coke in a can on the ship, it's going to run me $2.25 to $3 a can with tips. And so I know I'm saving $2.50 a can every time I do it. I'm bringing 36 on board. Do the math. That's, I'm saving about $100 just on that. Now, I still buy a pop, a soda at the restaurant. I don't bring the can with me when I walk around the ship, by the way. I have a sport container, and I put ice in there because my room steward brings me ice every day. And I'll pour a couple of cans inside that, and then I'm walking around with my sport container that's got my cola in it. Now, for a lot of passengers, they use those to carry water around, which is great. By the way, if you're on a cruise, don't buy bottled water. Just use the water off the tap in your bathroom. It's the same water they use to make the ice. It's of a top-notch quality. So you fill it up with ice, then go to the tap and fill water, and now you've got ice water with you. You're in business. Those of you who go to the spa, by the way, they always offer water there, usually in those kind of containers where you pull the handle and the water comes out a spout. Take your sport cup in there, fill up, enjoy. Let's see who else is. Any other messages? Lori is asking, what cruise line do you go with? I've been on Princess and Norwegian, and I'm going on Carnival in a month and a half. And at the time in 2015, we were allowed to bring pop and water on Princess, but no more. Yeah. Princess, I'll tell you right now, Princess might say you're not allowed to bring pop with you. Well, I put it in my suitcase. I dare them to go through it. You got 3,800 passengers, 2,800 passengers, 2,400 passengers. You got to get them on that cruise ship in a 3-hour window, because you just got 2,500 passengers off in the 3-hour window. It's mayhem, complete mayhem. They don't have time to open up every bag and inspect for cans of pop and give you a hard time about it. Frankly, my attitude is, I'm bringing Diet Caffeine Free on board because you don't sell it, and not by the can anyway. And if you want to take the time to find my luggage, open it up, and confiscate 12 of my cans from this one suitcase, and the other 2 make it through, knock yourself out. It's not gonna kill me, but I don't think they have the time. They don't have the manpower, and it ain't good PR. It just isn't gonna go very far, because the Twitterverse will explode, and I don't think they need that nonsense. I agree with cruise lines not to bring along hard liquor. Don't try to bring on bottles of rum, vodka, rye, Baileys. Don't go for the hard stuff. Bring a wine and bring some cola, yes, or bring bottles of water if you want, but don't even bother bringing bottles of water. You don't need it, honestly. You don't need it. Lines that I love, I really enjoyed Holland America. but I've been on Norwegian, I've been on Princess, I've been on Royal Caribbean. There's pluses and minuses to all of them, depending on the cruise you're on, the length of time, the cabin you're in. You know, you can be on a lower grade cruise ship, but if you're in the balcony suite, it might be quite nice. But there are times where you're on a 5-star line and you're in a balcony room, and it wasn't a good cruise. And it might have been weather, might have been your steward, it might have been you weren't feeling well, it might have been the ship's fault. I don't know. But I've had good experiences with all the lines. But you know, at the end of the day, you almost always get what you pay for. It all comes out in the wine. It says, Lori says, could not bring any beverage on Norwegian and Carnival. Well, again, I've done it on all of them. I haven't gone on Carnival specifically, but I'll tell you, if you put it in your luggage, not in the carry-on, don't try to carry it on the ship with you. No. In the luggage that you leave with the porters, it'll end up in your room later, 99 times out of 100. Paula K says, we opted for the coffee card instead of booze card. And so glad. Love the specialty coffees and teas. Used one card for 2 people, perfect amount. Yes. You know, it's the thing, you know, you can buy these coffee card beverage cards where you can go to the bistro and you can get the lattes, the Americanos, you can get the nice teas. I love doing that. I found that on my last cruise, it was a week-long cruise. I did the math in my noggin here, and I figured out that, you know, I'm only going to be on the ship for 6 days, 6 breakfasts, because the day I get on the cruise, I'm not having breakfast. I'm on around lunchtime. So now I'm down to 6 days, including the last day. And I like to have my latte, a nice latte, as my breakfast coffee. But I don't need a latte during the afternoon. I generally don't have one. Now, once in a while, maybe I'll have one, but generally not. So I did the math. I went 6 lattes at even $4 a pop, each one, or $4.50 a piece, $25, $30, whatever my cost is going to be. And my wife she loves to have tea. She just loves to have a tea in the morning, and she really prefers caffeine-free tea. She doesn't want caffeined tea. Well, she brings tea bags with her, caffeine-free. And so we'll go to the buffet where we're going to have breakfast. I've already stopped at the bistro. I've got my latte in a to-go cup, and we're up in the buffet. And she's got her tea bag, and she grabs a cup and she puts the tea bag in her cup, and then she pours hot water from the dispenser. She's got her decaffeinated tea. What does that cost? You know, 8 cents a bag from home. Fantastic. She puts them in a baggie, like in a Ziploc bag. She's got her 10 or 15, whatever teas. She's in business. And so we don't need to even buy the coffee card. But there are folks I've met on cruises who, oh yeah, they got to have 3 or 4 of these specialty drinks. You know, the latte or the Americano or the cappuccino, and then later in the morning, and then in the early afternoon. Hey, I totally get it. If it's your passion and you're a stickler for that, you bet. And that's where that coffee card can make a lot of sense. And you do the math between, you know, the two of you, and if the coffee card allows you so many drinks over so many days, you figure it out between the two of you whether you need 1 card or 2. And yeah, it could be a good way to go. Something something to really consider. Let's see what else we got here. Paula K says, plus they had amazing pastries and little brunch items to enjoy with the coffee. Yes, those coffee bistro bars. The beauty of those is that they'll usually have right beside the area where you order your coffee, there's the refrigerated glass area there, cakes, pastries, tiramisu, all these desserts. Usually those are free. You can just, can I have one of those, please? So if in the afternoon, it's like, you know, it's like 2:30, 3 in the afternoon, you're not going to have dinner until maybe 6:30, 7 o'clock. You've made a reservation in a specialty restaurant, but you want something kind of something sweet to kind of tide you over. Head over to the bistro, and a lot of the desserts in there are no charge. You just point, and they'll give you one. You want 2, point again. They'll give you 2. But at lunchtime, they'll have the panini sandwiches. They'll have like some really nice bistro units. Now, sometimes they charge for those. They'll charge a nominal fee, or it might be like a $5 charge, and it'll include the sandwich and dessert is free. Maybe a drink, maybe not. Each ship is different. I suspect as we go forward, there'll be more itemized charges on some of this stuff. But the last time I cruised, just a few months back, point at the dessert area there, and they give you what you want. So, you know, if you're in the buffet and you've had dinner, but you just can't have dessert. You're just too full. You go for a walk around the promenade deck and you stretch your legs, and about an hour later, you kind of go, I think I might want some dessert now. Well, you can go back to the buffet anytime you want, and just grab some dessert. But you can also go to the bistro bar and check out the desserts there. And maybe there's a dessert that's a little more exotic. And maybe that's what you want for your dessert this evening. And there's tables right there. Usually these bistros are in the atrium, which are the 5-story high, 6-story high open areas. And there are little tables all around there. So you grab your dessert, sit down at a little table, and just people watch and enjoy. Great way to spend the time. Chevy in First is here. Hi, Bruce. She says, windy, cold, low 40s here in Georgia. Dallas is in the 40s. We're going to be 35 to 38 degrees today. 10 degrees in Hanover. I'm assuming that's Germany. I have not had anyone yet in a warm climate watch. So it's all of us cruising wannabes that are online right now watching this Q&A, and we're all in cold weather. So we're the perfect clients for the cruise companies. We're the targets. They're targeting us. You know they're targeting us. Chevy in Verse is saying, I'm considering driving to the port now. It might be cheaper versus flying. Yep. You know, depending on how far away you are, you're in Georgia, and if you've got a cruise going out of, Port Canaveral or Fort Lauderdale or Miami, yeah, make either one long day of it. Do the suicide drive, get up really early in the morning and drive to your port city the day before your cruise, maybe, and then grab a Motel 6 somewhere, and then do your shopping for your, what you're going to bring on board, or you may have done that at home, and then just go. Because if you drive versus fly, you can pack a whole lot differently than if you're going to fly. I mean, we all know, folks. So airlines now are charging baggage fees. And they're limiting the size even of the first and second bag. They're limiting the weight of the first and second bag. They're now coming up with creative ways to not only charge us for the first and second bag, but then they charge us an extra weight surcharge on these bags. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous. And you can't put liquids in there. You certainly don't want to put any carbonated drinks in there. God forbid they blow up inside your suitcase and all your clothing is stained. And don't want to do that. So if you're driving to a port city, pack your suitcase as heavy as you want. Bring the big one. Bring the big suitcases and load up with your favorite colas and drinks and some wine or what have you. You bet. Another recommendation is get stuff like chocolate bars, bags of chips. Maybe bring them on board too, if you can, if you want. Bags of chips might not survive the crushing of the package. I don't know. Let's see if there's any other comments here. Paula K. Hanover, Pennsylvania. Oh, thanks, Paula. You're in Hanover, PA. Are you a Steeler fan or are you an Eagles fan? Or are you in the middle there? Let me know. Chevy in First, I'm okay with suicide drives. I used to drive to Branson, Missouri each year for a card meet. Well, there you go. Way to go. And Chevy in First says, yes, but yes, I can buy everything cheaper here at home. You bet. So, you might save $100 to $200 on what you're packing in your luggage. Rather than buying it on the cruise. And this frees up, you've got that money anyway. You'll use that money if you want on something else, if you wish. But otherwise, you can find a way to lower the out-of-pocket expense by doing this. It's the way to go. Absolutely. So I've been talking about cruise costs. So I went over the fare, port charges, taxes, tips, drinks. There are different kinds of drink packages, as we know. The coffee package we talked about. There's the pop package or the soda package. Then there are the drink packages. There's a couple of those now. There's the regular one, and now there's a premium drink package. And all of these have limitations on how many drinks you can order in either so many minutes, like maybe 1 an hour, so many a day, dollar amounts as to what the drink is worth. If you've got the regular alcohol package, you might be able to order, say, a rum and Coke, but the rum is going to be the bar rum. You're not going to be able to say, "Well, give me the Bacardi spiced, extra aged." No. That's the $12 drink. You're allowed the $7 or $6 or $8 drink, and then 1 an hour or so on. So really look into this and see if it's worth your while. You may be better off not buying a drink package at all, because if you have a Caribbean cruise, like say right now, we probably would, you got 3 or 4 stops in 7 days. You know what? If you're in St. Thomas or in Saint Martin for the day, you're going to be on the beach, maybe right in downtown Saint Martin. And those guys down there with those of you who know and those of you who don't know, in Saint Martin, they got a lovely beach. It's shaped like a half moon sort of shape. And there are operators down there who will rent you loungers, padded with padding and everything, and an umbrella for to keep the sun off off your top of your head and shoulders and body and so on. And then they'll offer you a bucket of beer. You can have a bucket of suds at an all-inclusive price. And some of them start at $25 for 2 loungers, the umbrella, and the beer. But the further down the beach you go, it's $20. Further down, keep walking, $15. Some of them will say, well, it's $10 for the loungers and the umbrella, and then it's your choice of the beer. If you want the Budweiser, it's $10 for the bucket plus your chair. But if you want Heineken, it's $2.50. It might be $12.50, and if you want Beck's or whatever, it's $20 a bucket. Or we'll give you 7 bottles instead of 5 bottles. It varies. So it's a lot of fun going to Saint Martin and doing this. But the point is, if you're going to be in Saint Martin on the beach for, say, 4 or 5 hours, and you're going to have a burger and fries there, which they'll bring you. They've got barbecues on the beach there. Oh, you can eat there too. If you're going to do that all day long, you're not using your drink card back on your cruise ship. And so you've been off the ship for 4, 5, 6 hours, and you're only allowed a drink an hour under that deal of theirs. And you've done the math, and you've got to have 8 to 10 drinks a day to break even. Well, if you're half lit by the time you get back, is it really worth your while to try to keep continuing to get lit? I don't know. To each his own. I'm not judging. I'm just saying. So you may be better off having a deal where you just buy your drinks as you go, and you figure out, wow, I spent $50 today on drinks, but I would have spent $85 on a drink card, plus some single dollar tips to this servers to kind of keep looking after me. Now, I've had people tell me they've had a great experience with drink cards where they got to the pool deck and the server came by. They showed them their wristband or their room card, whatever they had to show them that they had a drink package. And the server would say, well, what would you like? And you order a rum and Coke, and they bring you the rum and Coke. And the first thing they tell me is they hand them $2 cash as a tip. And all of a sudden, that server is your best friend, because 45 minutes later, the server is coming by. Would you care for another? Well, it's not even an hour, but it doesn't matter. The server makes the call. The server makes the drink. And so now you have situations where, gee, the second one came in a lot stronger than the first one. And you've got one person with a drink card and another person without. And sometimes the server will treat the second person with a drink. It's totally their call. I'm not saying that that's a normal thing, but it can happen. So if you're tipping cash to these servers, $2 on the first drink and $1 every time after that, yeah, you're adding $1 to your drink fee, but you're getting what you want when you want it, and sometimes faster than you thought possible. So I mention it. But again, if you're tipping a server, $1 or $2 in cash after you're paying the 18% gratuity when you're paying for your own drinks, and then you give them another $1, they're going to look after you too. They're going to be all over you. There will be no dirty dishes anywhere near your lounger. They're going to mention stuff to you like, oh, we have pizzas coming up. I'll get you a slice. Would you like me to bring you a slice of fresh pepperoni? It just comes out of the oven. Or we got hot dogs over here. I mean, you'll be spoiled rotten. So keep that in mind. Just check some more comments here. Shivian first says she buys everything at home. Then she says, me and my best friend are going to bring a cute drawstring bag to carry our formal shoes since we'll be walking from the front of the boat. Good move. Paula K. Steelers, I just moved here a year ago from 30 miles out of Pittsburgh. Yeah, my wife's a massive Steelers fan. Massive. She will be transfixed tomorrow on the television. Shivian first, our 4 ports will be Nassau, Half Moon Cay, Grand Turk, and Amber Cove. Fantastic. You'll have a great time. Nassau is cool. You'll be able to should be able to go to past Paradise Island. That's the big bridge causeway from downtown Nassau over to Paradise Island. That's where the Atlantis Resort is. Pretty cool to walk around there and see that. But your ship will have all kinds of information on board as to what you can do, where you can go. And if you bought a package, you bought a short package, great. If you haven't, you don't need one. You can just walk around downtown Nassau, and every hustler want to sell you T-shirts and souvenirs, don't worry, they'll be coming your way. It'll be fun. Just accept it, and you'll be fine. Other comments here. Sharon at Sea is here. Carnival has one drink and run package. You can purchase a drink as much as $50 a drink with a 15 drink max per day. Yeah, a $50 drink is only a $50 drink if you charge $50, right? Now, maybe that's a high-end scotch or something, or champagne, or whatever it is. But in the real world, if you bought the bottle yourself at home and you poured, your 20 drinks out of the bottle, or whatever number it is, it might cost you $6 at home, but on the cruise it's 50. I don't know. These drink packages are, you just gotta figure out if it's for you. Like I say, for some people, they have to have it. It's the deal of deals. They want it. They're going to do it no matter what. And hey, it works for you. I say great. There's no right or wrong way to do it, by the way. But it's just good to know what the rules are, what going in. Chevy First says, from my research, it seems like Half Moon Cay is a carnival port, and it can be a cheap beach day there. Yeah, it'll be a private resort that's run by Carnival staff or contractors that Carnival hires. Safe, clean, quiet, and then you can decide whether you want to spend any money there or not. And anything you do buy there on the beach, you can charge to your room. I'm 99% sure you can charge it to your account. So yeah, you'll have a good time with that. Sharon at Sea says, yes, HMC is awesome. And then Sam is here. Sam Stuckey. Hi, Bruce. It's 16 degrees here at Purdue University. Oh, man. Some friends and I are taking our first cruise in March on the Carnival Sunshine for our senior spring break. Yes! What would your advice be for a first-timer? Okay, advice to you, my friend, is head to my channel after you watch this and check my playlists on how to spend money on a cruise and all that kind of thing. Do your research on YouTube. You're already doing it now. You found me. Way to go. I'll tell you right now, you may want a drink package. If you're on spring break, a drink package might be the deal for you. On the other hand, it might not. If you've got some stops on that cruise, so, if it's a 3-day, 5-day, 7-day cruise, and you've got a couple of stops on shore, alcohol, if that's what you're into, may be so much cheaper on shore than on the ship. And so you'll buy the drink, you'll pay per drink on the ship and kind of limit it and watch your intake. But when you hit the shore, look out! All hell breaks loose, and you may find deals there. So that'd be one piece of advice I'd give you. By the way, for food, you're on spring break, hit the buffet. Don't go to specialty restaurants. You're not going to need that. Go to the main dining room if you're presentable and you're in good enough shape to do it. I'm assuming you're going to have a good time. So the buffet might be for you. Room service might be for you, but keep an eye out for the room service charges because those are going up. Lori Taylor, Sam Stuckey, I'm also going on Carnival Sunshine for March. When are you going? Oh, Lori, look out. You could be surrounded by college students. Sam is saying, how does dress codes work with Carnival? I've looked at the website, but I'm still confused. Dress codes have come down a long way. They're not as formal as they used to be. So if you want to go to, let's say, they call it a formal night. It used to be tuxedos for men and long gowns for women. That was up until about 10, 15 years ago. Not anymore. You can still go on formal night into a restaurant wearing just a jacket and have a polo shirt like this and khaki slacks. You can still do that. But I wouldn't wear shirts and a t-shirt. Don't bother. You're insulting the cruise line if you're trying to do that. You'll find that on board they'll have the rules written out, but I know you need to know before you go, what the deal is. So if it's a formal night and you have to wear a shirt and tie to get into the one restaurant, maybe that night you hit the buffet instead. There used to be a time where formal night was a real special night in the restaurant, and the food was better and everything was better. It's not quite that intense anymore, unless you're on a 6-star line. If you're on one of the high-end lines, yeah, well, we're talking a different animal. We're talking Carnival. We're talking affordable cruise that it's cheap price, but a good value for the money, and you'll have a great time and you'll be fine. But like I said, if you're going in like a shirt like this, golf shirt, and wearing khakis, no flip-flops, at least runners, but I would prefer and I'd recommend you go a little up on don't even wear runners, go a little higher than that. So slip-on shoes, leather shoes, obviously, then you're going to be fine. If you have a jacket, like I said, just a jacket, perfect. Now you're not going to be problematic at all. Let's see. Our cruise starts on the 11th. Carnival, Conquest 6, Caribbean. Chevy and First is going to be on the Conquest for a 6-day Caribbean cruise, September 23rd to September 29th. Fantastic. You guys are going to have a great time. Over here to some more of these charges that you guys should be looking out for, because you're asking the kind of questions I figured you would be. The next category after drink packages, specialty restaurants, or specialty dining, they're calling it. Used to be on a cruise ship. Everybody went to the dining room. There might be a snack bar somewhere. Then they came out with the buffets. They kind of came out with the special midnight buffets, which were held in the main dining room. Now they have designated buffet rooms for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. They have snack bars all over the place. They have the main dining room in the back. And they have specialty restaurants popping up. And that started about 10 years ago. You usually will find a steakhouse. You might now find a Japanese restaurant where the chefs are preparing your meal with the knives and they're juggling the food in front of you and all that. Makes for great entertainment. They usually have an Italian-themed restaurant, maybe a sushi bar. It all depends on the line you're on. If you're on Norwegian, you'll find a zillion specialty restaurants, maybe as many as 15 on the ship. Some will only hold 30 people, 40 people, 100 people. So you'll have to maybe make a reservation on night 3 or night 6 or whatever night you're thinking of going to that restaurant. Others will hold upwards of a couple hundred people at a time. There are times where you'll come to a specialty restaurant on the whim. You'll just say, hey, let's go to the steakhouse tonight. What the hell? You go to the steakhouse and you don't have a reservation. The later you go, you'll get in. The earlier you go, you may have to get a reservation to get in. So fear not. If you can wait until 7:30, 8 o'clock to go into the specialty restaurant, you might get a spot. So not to worry. But the costs of specialty restaurants, anywhere from $5 for like or $5, $7, $8, $10 for like a Johnny Rockets on a Royal Caribbean, just burgers and fries and shakes, up to $85. Even higher if you're going into like a 4-course celebrity chef themed restaurant. You might pay more. Is it worth it? I don't know. If you're a real food aficionado, priceless. Guy like me, I like good food. I really do. But I'm on a cruise, and am I going to pay 50, 70, $80 each more for one meal? It has to be so spectacular to get me in there. Otherwise, no, I'm headed for the main dining room. I'm headed for the buffet. But, going to the Italian restaurant for $10 or $15 each, yeah, I might go there. But again, watch. I'll look for specials. There are days, the first day, you'll sometimes find specialty restaurants are like half off or a 2-for-1 deal. Or there are some lines that are offering like a bottle of wine if you come in, on a certain day. So keep an eye on that. Specialty restaurants are open usually. Some are open dinner only. Some are open lunch and dinner. And for lunch, it might be half the price than a supper. So if it's $50 in the evening, it might only be 20 or 25 during the afternoon, and you can have a wonderful lunch and then just hit the buffet that night to kind of top up. Think about that. Let's see. Any more comments? Lori is saying teppanyaki restaurant is awesome. We ate there on Norwegian. Epic, wonderful experience of superb food. I've been on the Epic, and I may have been in that restaurant myself. Lori is saying also, we did Cirque du Soleil dinner and a show. That was great too. I was going to mention that there is a it's kind of like the Cirque du Soleil restaurant. It's a meal and a show all in one. If you're into Cirque du Soleil, then it's a hell of a deal. If you're not so much into that, then you kind of hard to justify the total cost of the experience, but it's something completely different that you would never have run into before. And I know I believe it's a Norwegian feature, if I've got that right. So that's something you can definitely look into. Another pricing area is the internet. My first cruise in 2007, I wanted to keep in touch with my folks back home, and I bought an internet deal, a package deal. It was like a 60-minute thing, and it was so much a minute. And I found after the third day I'd used it up. So now I either had to pay by the minute, which was ridiculous, or buy another package. So I think I bought another 30-minute package, and I kind of trained myself to just calm down, Chester, and just use as little as possible. Well, nowadays with our smartphones and our tablets, we can, we really are addicted to the service. First thing you want to do is check with your provider, your phone provider back home, your service provider, on what kind of package you can get for international usage, especially if you're going to Caribbean countries, Mexico, that kind of thing, or European cruises. But then the second thing is you got to check with the ship. Now, if you're doing a Mexican Riviera cruise, my wife and I, we would take our cell phones with us when we left the ship because we had them shut off while we were on board. Then when we landed in, say, Mazatlan, we'd get off the ship and we'd take our phones with us, turn our phones on, and go on to Wi-Fi, look for Wi-Fi hotspots in Mazatlan. Now, if you hit up a Starbucks, you get free Wi-Fi, even in Mazatlan or Puerto Vallarta, San Juan, Puerto Rico, another example. So we would then use their service to send text messages home, attempt a phone call perhaps, but really sending a quick text was the way to go. We just tried to train ourselves to wean ourselves off of these devices for that 7-day time frame. But if you're on a 2-week cruise, there's times where you need to be in touch. And like I said, if you can do it on shore, if you can wait until you get on shore and then hit up an establishment with free Wi-Fi, any bar worth its salt in Jamaica, Cozumel, Mexico, San Juan, San Martin, they've got free internet. They'll give you the code, order a drink, here, use the internet all you want. It may not be lightning fast, but it's certainly good enough to do texting or emailing and check your emails and that kind of thing. At least you're sort of in touch for that day, and then you're back at sea. Now, some cruises, you have 7 days and 3 days in a row where you're stopping on shore. Well, you're going to be on the internet 3 days in a row out of the 7 right there in the middle of the cruise. So maybe for the first day and a half and the last day and a half, you're out of touch, or you're going to the ship and sitting behind a desktop to use one of their computers, or you're paying by the minute to use your device if you want to spend the money. The fees nowadays for internet usage is like anywhere from 30 cents to 75 cents a minute, but there are ships that still charge more than $1 a minute to be online, so be mindful of that. Photography charges. You see these photographers right at the beginning of the cruise when you're getting on the ship. They're offering to take your picture with a picture of the cruise ship you're about to go on. It's going to run you $10-15 a photo. You can use it or not. When you're on the ship, they offer you photography services, the family or for yourself and your significant other. If you're on a honeymoon and you're all dolled up for formal night, maybe you want to use the ship photography service to make professional photographs. They're worth it. They're a keepsake. It's a one-time thing. Great. At my age, I don't need a professional to take my photo. I'll do selfies. my wife and I might get someone to take a picture of us using our smartphone, and that's quite good enough for us. Again, it all depends on what it is you want, but the cost of the photography services can be expensive depending on how many copies of these photos you want. Shore excursions. You can get off the ship and wander off on your own, grab a cab, go wherever you want if you know the place, if you've done some Google research before you get to the cruise place. But then there are the shore excursions, and they run anywhere from, $10, $20 to $5,000, depending on what it is you want. If you're an avid golfer and there's, say, a husband and wife want to golf together, or there are two couples going on a cruise and the guys and girls are going to play a round of golf in the Puerto Vallarta stop or Mazatlan, you can pre-arrange with your cruise ship these rounds of golf. You can also pre-arrange a round of golf with golf courses that are there on your own. Grab a cab from the ship, take it to the golf course, play around, and grab a cab back to the cruise, and don't even have the cruise line involved in any of it. You can do it that way too. Check the money, but check the security of the trip back and forth to make sure that you'll make it on time. So keep that in mind. So for golfers, a round of golf might run you $50, $80, $100 each. So it's $400 for the green fees or less, hopefully less. And then the cost of transportation to and from, add it up. If it's in your budget, it's in your budget. Nothing wrong with golfing on every stop you have. There are some fantastic golf courses in the Caribbean that you can take advantage of. But otherwise, taking a tour, like getting a snorkel tour, getting a tour off of Cabo to go check out the whales, depending on the time of year. Fishing expeditions, chartering a fishing boat for 3 or 4 hours. I mean, there's just all kinds of excursions. There's no end to them. No end to them. And a lot of them are offered by the cruise lines because there's a markup for them to offer it to you. But you have to decide whether you can, afford it or not, and whether it fits your needs. Lori is taking off. See you, Lori. It was fantastic. Gailey S is here. Gailey is here. Hi, Bruce. Can you take a bottle of port wine on Carnival? I don't know. I don't know if you can do it. But you know what? Shove one in the bag, in your suitcase, not in your carry-on, and take your chances. If it arrives in your room, it arrives. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But each line is different. They'll have policies, but then you have to be careful. You might be pushing the line. You might not. I don't know. I know that if you take a bottle of wine on some of these cruises and you want to enjoy the wine in the dining room, there's a corkage fee, and the ship will charge you a corkage fee of anywhere from $10 to $30 a bottle, and they'll keep that bottle for you in a storage area with your name on it, room number on it. So if you want a glass of wine tomorrow at another restaurant, they'll fetch that bottle from the storage area and bring you a glass of wine from that bottle. For some people, they really like it because the wine they're bringing on board is a $50, $80, $100 bottle of wine at Costco, and it would run $300 or $400 on the cruise, and they'll happy to pay a $20, $30 corkage fee to enjoy that bottle or two on the ship at dinner. But if you want to consume the wine in your room, which is what most people do, a balcony suite, you're in your balcony, looking over the sea and having a glass of wine, you and your wife, you don't have to pay a corkage fee. You're doing it yourself. So keep that in mind. Sam is saying, I've heard the best way to forego the Wi-Fi package and unplug and enjoy the cruise is the best thing to do. I think it is the best choice for college student on a budget. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Sam, shut that darn thing off. Put it in the vault that they give you. They have a little vault in your room. Put it in there, shut it off, and forget about it. And you going on shore, take your phone with you, and then head for a spot that offers you free Wi-Fi. Communicate to everyone you're alive and well, and then get back on the ship and shut it off. And just tell them, I'm shutting this phone off. You're not going to hear from me for 2 more days. That kind of best way to go. Chevian first says, Sam, I plan on taking a ton of videos, etc., but I'm not even taking my laptop. I want to enjoy the cruise. This is my first cruise. Yeah, don't take your laptop. Grab your smartphone, grab a camera, and shoot away. Ruth is saying, this is all great information, Bruce. I will follow you on Twitter, and will try to keep up with all your posts. This is all great. I'll research before I go and watch your videos on the channel. Got to go. Thanks, Ruth. It was great to see you. You have a great day today. Let's see. Other comments here or other charges that you can run into. The spa. Now, the one thing I recommend when you get on the ship for the first time, I don't care if you're a first timer or it's your 10th cruise. If this is the first time on a cruise or on this ship, or you haven't been on the ship for 5 years, take a tour. Head over to the spa area. The spa area is a great place to get a free tour. The staff will show you all the amenities there, including the workout rooms, what exercise machines they have. They'll try to talk to you into getting a personal trainer for the week or becoming part of the Pilates class, or they might have a yoga class. Hey, look into it. Then, of course, they're going to want to try to sell you on all the services they're offering. They give you facials, manicures, pedicures. They'll get your hair done. You can get massages individually, a stone massage or couples massage, all kinds of therapies that they're going to offer you. And then there's the other thing. There's the use of the spa facilities. Certain areas of the spa you're allowed to use for free, and maybe not, maybe yes, maybe no. But there are certain cruise lines like Norwegian where you can buy a spa pass for the cruise, and it might run you 120, 150, 160 bucks, depending on how long the cruise is. And this is where you can come anytime you want, as many times a day as you wish, to the spa, and you can use the steam rooms, the saunas, the shower facilities. They'll provide you with towels, of course. They'll have the whirlpools. Then they'll have the heated lounger areas. You can use all those areas as often as you like, and it's a great sanctuary because there are no kids. As an old guy like me, I don't want to have 5-year-olds running around screaming like crazy. No races, none of that stuff. So it's nice and quiet, adult only. One section of the spa is for men only, one section is for women only, and then they may have an area that's open to both. You have to wear your trunks, your swimsuits there, and you can enjoy the heated loungers, and it's quiet and relaxing. It's worth it. The other thing I find is I love using the showers in the spa because the showers in the spa are full size. Unlike the shower in my room, in my suite, they're smaller, and I have never had a shower in my suite Never. On all my cruises, I've never had a shower in my room. I've always had my showers in the spas, and I don't even have to take shampoo with me. They provide conditioner and shampoo there, and so I'll bring my shaver with me and I'll shave there. But it's all included. I'll also bring my sport bottle with me, and I'll have a couple of cans of my cola in there to start with, and then once I've drank that, or after I'm down to a third of it and it's all flat, I pour the rest out, and then I'll head over to the water dispenser inside the spa, and they'll have lemon flavored or orange flavored ice water, and I'll fill that right up, and I'll enjoy that for the rest of my spa experience. And I'll tell you, it's worth it. It's just worth every penny, because it's just, you just come out of there so relaxed and loosened up. It's great. Whether I get a massage or not, that's additional. I generally don't even bother. Kristen is here. Kristen, you have a good hair. Bruce, hi, connected in Whitby, Ontario. Minus 15 here today. Ray, welcome aboard, Ray. Going on a Disney cruise in February to the Eastern Caribbean. Right on. A Disney cruise is great. They get high reviews. They're not inexpensive, but they have high reviews, and you're gonna have a great time. They run a nice service. I know Disney right now has 4 ships, and apparently they're going up to 7. There's 3 ships on order, and so Disney is becoming a factor in the cruise business. They're up to about 2%, 3% of the overall business as a whole, and they're gaining market share. But for bargain hunters, for cruisers, you can't get a super discount deal on Disney. It's rare you find one, but that shows you how popular they are. And but if you're mom and dad and you've got 1 or 2 kids, or grandma and grandpa are taking the grandkids on a 1-week cruise, oh man, taking them to a Disney cruise, my goodness, these kids will be just blown away. It'll be a great time. Let's see here, Ray, checking out Saint Martin and St. Thomas. Yes, Ray, I've been there pre-hurricane. Great spots to go to. They're now both open again. They're back in business. The ports are open. St. Thomas, they have a beautiful cable car ride. You can walk for about 15 minutes or take a quick 2-minute cab ride, 4-minute cab ride to the cable car, and then you can go right up to the top. It's about 15 or 20 bucks a person. Pay it. It's worth it. You go up to the top, and there's a beautiful view, spectacular view of all St. Thomas. Make sure you bring a camera with you, or if your smartphone's got a good camera, you'll get some great shots from up there if it's a clear day. Spectacular. They also have clean bathrooms up there, just so you know. They have a bar up there, a snack bar, so you can grab a soda or beer or whatever you want. It's nice up there. It's just great. It's worth it. It's a cheap outing, and you don't have to do it with the cruise ship. You can do it on your own. Saint Martin, you can also do it on your own. You don't necessarily have to do an outing. Now, some folks have taken a cab, like 2 couples will get together, they'll share a cab, and they'll drive to where the airport is because they want to watch those jets come in and land on that airstrip. But there's a little bit of beach right at the end of the runway, and you're literally standing on the beach, and the jet's coming in over your head about 20 feet over you. And they watch the jets land on the runway over here, and then the reverse, jets are taking off from Saint Martin, and they're trying to hang on to the fence because the jet blast is coming at them. I wouldn't recommend it. You're going to get a lot of sand in your skin, and God forbid you get something in your eyes. But, stand off to the side and watch. It's a bit of a show. But it's quite a distance for the cab ride to get there and back. It can take you like a half an hour to an hour, depending on the traffic. Be mindful of your time. Don't miss your cruise on the way back. But if you're just going to go for a walk in Saint Martin, you can either walk right to the downtown area of Saint Martin, where there's a beach there, or you can take a quick cab ride over, and there's a bunch of bars there and free internet. Buy a beer or whatever, and you get free internet. It's worth it. It's a lot cheaper than using internet on the ship, so enjoy that. So yeah, check out Saint Martin and St. Thomas. You'll enjoy it. The next area where there's cruise charges that you can or cannot avoid is after the spa use. Would be, well, they used to have the fuel surcharge. Now, those of you who've only been cruising a while or have never cruised before, about 4 years ago, when oil started hitting $100 a barrel and kind of hung around there for a while, the cruise lines started implementing a fuel surcharge, just like the airlines did. Have you noticed some of the airlines have never removed the airline surcharge? Never removed that fuel surcharge, still there. Funny, even when it got down to $40 a barrel, the fuel surcharge was still there from when it was $100 a barrel. Interesting. Anyway, some of the cruise ships implement that if crude oil hits $70 a barrel or more. I haven't seen a cruise line offer it or nail anyone yet with it, because the competition for passengers is so fierce with so many cruise ships now at sea and so much choice for us that they're going to all have to do it, or none. It'll be interesting to see if this goes anywhere. Right now, it's 60 odd bucks a barrel. It shouldn't be a factor. It really shouldn't be a factor. But I know that the surcharge was $10 a day per passenger, up to $20 a day per passenger. I find that to be rich, because if the ship is coming in at 7 in the morning into Puerto Vallarta, it's not leaving until 7 tonight. They're not burning a lot of fuel just sitting there, And the next night they're going to take, like even the Caribbean, like from St. Thomas to St. Martin, you can go from St. Martin to St. Martin in 2.5 hours if you take a straight line. Well, what the cruise ship does is it stays in international water so they can keep the casino open, so you can play the casino slot machines all night long, and then in the morning they take you into port. So they're burning fuel at their choice to make extra money on other features, and then they have the audacity to try to charge you a $10, $20 a night fuel surcharge. So keep an eye out for that, but so far it hasn't been a factor lately. I doubt very much if oil really will go back to 80 or 100 bucks a barrel. We're awash in that product right now, but you never know. Travel insurance. Okay, if you're young and you're in good health, or you're old like me and you're in good health, you might take the chance and not buy travel insurance. There's different kinds of travel insurance you can get, though. You can get medical-only travel insurance, or you can get the travel interruption and medical, the whole enchilada insurance. These can be expensive, depending on how old you are, how young you are. If you're in my age group, I'm early 60s, we're talking $100 a day for insurance for a guy like me. It's unbelievably expensive. So if you don't have serious medical issues going in, you may not need to worry about it. But, accidents can happen. You can fall down and, break an arm or badly cut yourself, and you're going down to that medical room on the ship. There's a doctor on board, but you're going to pay dearly for those services. I've heard, a cut that requires maybe stitching, maybe not, medication, bandage, $300 to get that repaired. It's a tough call. But if you're really unwell, high blood pressure, you got a heart condition, you're going to go down there no matter what, and you're going to have to be looked after. Check with your life insurance provider, your insurance provider at home for your home insurance, your car insurance. Check, like, in other words, your insurance agent. Get a hold of these people and talk to them, or on the internet. If you've bought insurance on the internet, go back to where you bought your other insurance from that you have anyway, and see what they can offer you with travel insurance. Sometimes they can give you a rider, and they can give you up to 25 days, 30 days a year of travel insurance included in a policy that you've already got going, and it might come in at a real low price. You may have to register with them to tell them when you're going and what the dates are before you go, but it's well worth your time to do that. So look into that and see if you can save on that, because just buying travel insurance as a last minute thing, right on the spot, you will pay dearly for that. And that might be so expensive you may not be able to afford it. So kind of keep an eye on that. But I'll tell you, some of these medical expenses out there, like if you need a hospital stay in Saint Martin or a hospital stay in Puerto Vallarta, it may be so expensive you'll kick yourself for having not done it. So check with your insurance provider. Check in the United States. I think you should be checking with your healthcare provider. If you've got healthcare through your employer or on your own, check with the company that you use for your health insurance for travel insurance overrides. You might be able to get stuff like that built in for a way lower price because you're an existing client already. Look into that. Medical costs on board, I just went into that. Room service delivery fees have started to show up on cruise ships. It used to be that it was free to order anything on a cruise ship if you wanted room service. No extra charge whatsoever. Now they're charging a delivery fee in many cases, and I think it's going to become the norm. I believe Carnival doesn't even offer room service from 10 at night to 6 in the morning. Can't get it. Or other lines are charging $4 or $5 a delivery, up to $10 to deliver food, and then sometimes it's a restricted menu. They might only offer you like a burger and fries, or a coffee and some really basic stuff. If you want to order more complex items off a menu, They may not offer it, or they offer a surcharge on top of that. So really watch out for that. That used to be all inclusive. It was just great at one time. What else can I tell you about room service fee? Oh, a corkage fee I went into. VIP passes. This is kind of a new thing. Carnival has something called Faster to the Fun Pass. Those of you who are cruising Carnival, you probably noticed that on your cruise. Some of you have bought this. It allows you, they're saying that it allows you earlier check-in time into your room on the cruise ship, that your bags will get there earlier. You can board the ship earlier. It'll allow you, say, if you want to get off the ship to do an onshore excursion, you can get off at an earlier time. For some people, it's the deal of deals. For a guy like me, I don't care. If I have to wait in the waiting area to get on the cruise ship for an extra half an hour and not pay the 50 extra bucks for this pass, I'll do that. I'll wait. I don't care when my bags arrive. I know that the first 4 to 5 hours on the cruise ship, I got plenty to do before I need my baggage. As a matter of fact, if I want to go in the pool on the first day of the cruise, I'll have that in my carry-on with me. I'll have my trunks in the carry-on. So will my wife. We can go to our room anytime we want. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean that we can't go to our room, but we'll go to our room and we'll leave our carry-ons there. But we'll put our trunks on, grab our towels, and head for the deck because we got our flops with us, and we'll be in the pool already. When the bags get there, they get there. It'll be 4 in the afternoon, 5, 6 o'clock, whatever. So I'm not too worried about that. But again, for shore excursions, sometimes you want to have this feature. But on the other hand, if you're booking an excursion with the cruise ship where you have to be in the ballroom or in the main showroom by, say, 8:30 in the morning to catch the buses to get onto that shore excursion you've booked, they're going to get you off the ship first, whether you have the pass or not. So keep that in mind. They do talk about you have a VIP line for guest services and stuff. My attitude about guest services is I'm the guest, you're servicing me. If I have to wait a few minutes, I'll wait a few minutes. But if there's a lineup, I'll come back in an hour. I'll hit that lineup at 8 o'clock tonight, and there won't be anybody there. So I'll kind of keep an eye on those lines. But hey, for some people, it's a must, and away you go. Private cabanas. There are now adult-only areas starting to show up on these cruise ships where you can only adults can go. It's a sanctuary kind of a place, and they'll grant you access for a fee. It might be like $10 or $15 or $20 a person for 4 or 5 hours for like a half a day, and they'll give you loungers there, and they have special staff there to look after you. You're still paying for your drinks. There's no deals on that. For some people, it's worth it because it's a getaway. It's a sea day today. We only have 2 sea days, and from like 1 until 5 o'clock, I want to get a tan, or I just want to lie down in a lounger, read a book or an ebook, and I don't want to hang around the pool area where all the noise is, and I don't want to watch the belly flop contests and all this stuff. I want a quiet area. Well, maybe that's the place for you. But on the other hand, if you got a balcony unit, use your own balcony and enjoy. You can always do that. So for some folks, that's a must. For others, not such a big deal. Costs for these areas, as I say, $10, $20 a person. But I've heard anywhere up to $145 a day for a private cabana. So some of these are really pricey. Kind of watch out for that. Again, it's not mandatory, so it's up to you. Now, bathrobes used to be free. Last I heard, everybody offers a bathrobe in your room, but there are rumors about that bathrobes might now start to be charged for. So keep that in mind. It might be a special bathrobe that they'll bring to your room. It might be a bathrobe that's in your room and it'll cost you $30 unless you're savvy enough to tell the room steward, get that $30 bathrobe out of my room. I'm not paying for $30 for a bathrobe. Might only use it twice for the whole cruise. I don't know. We'll have to watch that one. I heard now, is it Carnival that's offering pizza delivery? You can order pizza anywhere on the ship for $5. So they'll bring you a hot, fresh pizza from the pizza room, certain hours of the day to your room. You know what? I'm not that lazy. If I'm in a room and I want a pizza to eat in my room, I'll just go get it and I'll bring it back to my room. You can go to the buffet. By the way, did you know that? You can go to the buffet, load up, you and your wife or yourself, you can load up all the food you want and you can walk it out of there. You don't have to eat it there. You can eat that buffet food anywhere you want. And if you just take the elevator down 3 flights and over, a few rooms over is your room, and you want to eat your buffet meal in your room, knock yourself out. You can do that. Don't think you can't do that. So there's ways around this sort of stuff. Main dining room surcharge. Now, this is getting me excited in a bad way. I think that if you go to the main dining room and you didn't hit a specialty restaurant, there shouldn't be fees there. It should just be all inclusive. And I'm the kind of guy that will boycott a cruise line if they start pulling this little stunt. Because whatever you offer in the main dining room is what you're offering in the main dining room. If you want to charge me, $20 for a steak, I'll go to the steakhouse and I'll pay it there. You want to charge me, extra money for Italian food? I'll go to the Italian restaurant. I'll pay it. I get it. But in the dining room, there should be a set menu every day. It will change somewhat, and it shouldn't be all in. But I've now started hearing Royal Caribbean is playing this game, and I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't agree with it. But the rumor is $15 will get you a steak, $37.50 will get you surf and turf. Well, what am I on a cruise for? If I want to get surf and turf for $37.50 a person additional, plus you're charging me for my room already, and these tips, you're starting to charge me what it would cost me at a restaurant in my hometown for surf and turf. I'm not so eager about that. Anyway, I'm watching that. We'll see how far this goes. I don't like the idea of having it in the main ballroom. I can see it as a specialty item. It's okay. We talked about Cirque and Dreams, adult-only enclave, so we've mentioned that a little bit. Babysitting services, that's another charge you can run into if you choose to use it. Not all lines offer babysitting, but it's usually $6-7 an hour, and that will continually rise in cost. So be mindful of that. For some parents, they have a child that they need adult supervision no matter whether they're sleeping or not in the room. I get it. And if you want to be out of the room for 2 or 3 or 4 hours with your husband and your wife for a nice meal, and it's $6 an hour, it's $25 for 4 hours. Hey, it's worth it. It's priceless. You're looking after your children. Safety first. Way to go. Fitness classes. I mentioned that a little bit on the spa package. You can get a fitness class. In some cases, you can join an existing class, or you can have an individual, trainer just for you to help keep those muscles going and keep those pecs going. Hey, whatever works for you. $10 to $60, depending on the sessions, or it might be a package deal. There's Pilates. There are wine tasting seminars sometimes on these ships that cost extra. Cooking classes are offered. If you learn how to make a souffle or certain meals, hey, it's worth it. And if you're a food aficionado and you love making food at home, well, what's wrong with hanging out with some of these chefs on board these cruises and learning how to make meals? Fantastic. It's worth the extra money. Anybody have any questions? Let me know. If you're just joining this telecast, tell me where you're from and what your high temperature is today. It'll be good to know. Laundry services, yes, you'll pay extra for laundry services. But you know what? If you're on a 7-day cruise, bring enough clothing where you don't have to do your laundry. I have heard, though, where some people, they'll bring some clothing on and then they want to wear, that same T-shirt or whatever they want to wear again. They'll literally wash the item in their bathroom, in their unit, and hang dry it in the shower facility. They use a hair dryer to dry their clothing. If you got to do that, you got to do that. But, my attitude is if I've run out of T-shirts to wear because I've just been sweating like a dog on this cruise and I've still got 2 days to go, I might just break down and go to the ship store on board the ship and buy a couple of cheapo T-shirts there. And it's a souvenir item for myself. Or we're going to be on shore today, and I know I need clothing for tomorrow. I'm in downtown Old San Juan. I'll hit up some of the tourist shops. There's some, cheap stuff. Go into one of those drugstores in San Juan, Puerto Rico. They're just like the Walgreens in the U.S. You'll find $5-7 T-shirts. You'll find underwear. You'll find socks. If you need something, you can always get it. Buy it on shore and save. But if you have to buy it on the ship, you have to buy it on the ship. I get it. Doreen is saying, hey, Bruce, from Nova Scotia, plus 15 to go. Way to go, plus 15. My goodness. I'm in Creston, BC. We're going to be plus 2, maybe plus 3. Plus 15, that would be just a godsend for us. Way to go. Enjoy it while you can, because we know it won't last. It's January. Welcome to my channel. I really appreciate you coming. If you have any questions about cruising, let me know. A couple more charges that you might run into on cruising. This one isn't even on the cruise ship. It's parking fees. I have one person was telling me earlier today they're thinking of driving to the port city rather than flying. It'll be cheaper. Yeah, but you got to park the car, and you got to check that out. Now, if you can park the car in most cases right at the port or right by the port area, but it might run you 15, 20 bucks a day, sometimes more. On the other hand, if you figure out on the internet, if you have some time, you figure out where you can park the car for the week that you're gone, maybe a block or two or a mile or so away from the cruise port area, where it might only be $5 a day, and then you can just take a $10 cab ride to the ship. Well, now it's $35 to park the car for the week, and it only ran you 20 bucks in cab fees there and back. Then you saved yourself some money instead of 20 bucks a day, 140 bucks to park, or maybe 40, 50 bucks to park. Well, you save 70, 80, $100. Look into that. Okay. Gail, he says, Carnival Vista has a laundry on each floor, about $4 each for washer and the same for the dryer. There's an iron also. Exactly. You can do it yourself, but what a bummer to have to do that on a cruise. But I have noticed deals on some of the cruise lines where they'll have a special sort of on the 4th, 5th day, and they'll send the flyer to your room and they'll say, hey, listen, you can get you can use a laundry bag. It's kind of like a mesh bag. Fill this bag full of laundry, and it's 20 bucks for the whole bag. And you figure it out. And you look in there and go, well, I can stuff in all my underwear and I can stuff in all my shirts. Maybe my wife can get in a couple of pieces in there, and that whole bag is 20 bucks. But like I say, I usually bring enough clothing for the whole cruise, and I go home with a suitcase full of dirty laundry. That's it. That's just the way I am. Sam is saying we're flying into Orlando early in the morning of our cruise. Carnival offers transportation or transport to Port Canaveral for 36 bucks each way. Would you recommend this or have a different suggestion? Take the deal with Carnival. Because once you got the baggage on that bus, you can sit on that Greyhound-sized bus, and you can exhale and just go, because you're going to be taken right to the cruise ship, right to the baggage porters, and you can just hand the bag. You're going to move the bag 5 feet from the bus driver to the porter, and the bag is on the ship, and you can forget about it. So I would take that deal. Don't worry about any other deal. Doreen is saying only sailed 3 cruises on Celebrity, one coming up in March for 10 days. Any ideas for other lines we should try? Well, if you've been on Celebrity, you've been on a 5-star, 5.5-star line. So to sort of stay in the same area, you're going to look at Holland America. I would look at that line as another idea. Another line I would look into is Viking Ocean Cruises. Now, Viking lines are famous for river cruises in Europe, also in China. But the Viking people have now launched 4 or 5 ocean liners for ocean cruises. They're smaller ships. Rather than holding 2,000 to 5,000 people plus crew, these ocean liners are holding about 930 passengers. No inside rooms, all balcony. Really nice. They're more expensive, yes, but you get more. They don't have, I don't believe there are any specialty restaurants. All the restaurants on board are included in your fare. So when you start comparing the cost of Celebrity to Holland America or to Viking, you've got to keep in mind all these charges I've been telling you about, plus what's inclusive or not. So on a Viking cruise line, you still have tipping fees, but I believe alcohol is included. I might be wrong, but I think wine at dinner, sodas there's no soda. I don't think it's extra. No extra restaurant charges. Fewer passengers, much more service. The amenities won't be as worn out or as busy. And you've got to sort of factor out all of these costs and then do a real comparison and say, well, it was $100 a night on Holland America. It was $300 a night on Viking. But I have to add this on Holland America. I have to add this on Holland America. I have to add that. By the time I figure out the cruise I really want versus the cruise I'm really going to get, maybe I'm at $250 a night or $175 a night versus $280 to $300 a night here or $350. If it's within $100 a night or $50 a night per person, it's $100 a day more. I hear you. I hear the money, but on the other hand, what you're getting for that extra cash versus what you would get here, it might be worth the leap. And I'm hearing good things about Viking Ocean Lines. I'm hearing good things. They're adding ships to the fleet. It's obviously working. They do Caribbean, they do Europe. Believe they're doing Northern Europe as well. So if you're on vacationstogo.com, that's where I always recommend you go as a place to look for cruises. Check out the Viking Ocean Cruise Lines. Let's see. Okay, so I'm up to date on all the questions. The last area where you could spend extra money, but this is something I might want to consider someday. It's what I call the behind-the-scenes ship tour, where you can go with like maybe the couple of senior staff members, and you can take a tour of the cruise ship behind the scenes, and they'll take you down to where the kitchens are, and you can see where the size of the area where they're preparing food. Now they only offer these tours at certain times of the day because, of course, during dinner time, not a chance that they're going to take you down there. It's just complete mayhem, and you're going to get in the way. They don't want to have a waiter accidentally bump into you and have an accident with food all over the place, and dishes breaking on the floor and that kind of thing. But it's something to look into because you might get a tour of the ship, the bridge area. You might get a tour of a part of the engineering area. And for some folks, that is really neat stuff. Now, some of these tours might only be available when the ship is in port. And, 80% of the passengers have left the ship, and things have gotten real nice and quiet on the ship. And now certain staff members may be available for these kinds of unique tours where maybe only 10 people at a time can take the tour. It might be one of those. Now, I've heard pricing from 50 to 100 or more per person for one of these things. It's a unique thing to check out. I would strongly consider it as a one-time thing, especially if it's a unique ship or something you've never seen before. But I got to say, you want to know what the kitchen area looks like on a cruise ship? Go to YouTube and just enter the search term, a kitchen tour of a cruise ship, and you'll see others who've taken their smartphones down there and they've taken the phone with them, and you're going with them on a tour of the cruise ship, that kind of thing. The other thing I was mentioning the other day about if you're looking to do research on a cruise, you want to know, boy, what's it like taking a cruise from, say, Miami to, if there's a stop in Grenada. I've never been to Grenada before, or what's Labadee like? What are these private islands like? Go to YouTube, enter the term, and you'll find people who've done these cruises, and they'll have videos there of what they look like. Even a specific ship. If you're thinking of, I might go on the Allure of the Seas, a Royal Caribbean ship for a cruise, and I'm thinking of grabbing a room, a balcony room, certain class of room. Enter in the YouTube search bar the name of the ship and the name of the suite, the kind of suite you're talking about. Even you can even do something like Deck 15 Allure of the Seas balcony suite. Enter. You may find video results for that exact kind of room on that exact ship that someone has posted, and now you've got a tour. The video may be very crude and very basic, but what do you care? It's a peek inside a balcony room from the comfort of your own home. And it'll give you some ideas of as to what you might look for. You may find several videos on that kind of thing. You never know. So there you go. There's a number of ways to sort of scout out a cruise even before you've booked a cruise and figured out that you're going on a cruise. That kind of thing. If you want to know what Royal Caribbean is like, or Celebrity, what's it like, or what's Holland America like, I find that when you watch a video from a cruise line, you're going to get the PR treatment. Excellent video. I mean, the video is first class, professionally made video. But you're going to get the corporate line, how wonderful it's going to be and how fantastic it is. I love watching videos from real people. Tell me, did you have a real bad week on a cruise ship? I want to know why. Tell me what was so bad about it. And others they're very honest. They'll tell you, look, it was a 1-week cruise. We had a bad day, and then we had 5 great days. And they'll tell you what was good and bad about the cruise. Well, now you make the call. If their bad day was an onshore experience that they took on a tour, and you weren't even thinking of taking that tour, well, you can throw that experience out the window and say, well, I'm not going to have a bad day on that tour. I'm not taking that tour. I'm just going to, when the ship goes to San Juan or to St. Thomas or to Cayman Islands, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do that because I could run into those problems those folks had. So that's one way to gather intelligence on, ships, cruise lines, destinations, ports, and what's going on. And there are people out there who will talk about drink packages on these pages as well, and that's something else you can dig into as well, and get the latest scoop on what's going on. But anyway, there you go. What do we got here? I've been on the air an hour and 34 minutes. I think I'm going to say my goodbyes. If you've been watching, give me a thumbs up if you've been watching. Let me know you've been there. I hope you've been getting a good connection. Those of you who are watching this video, tonight, tomorrow, you've been watching me an hour, 34 minutes. What is wrong with you people? Welcome and thank you for watching. I thank all my viewers and my subscribers. It's been great. The counts are going up, and I really appreciate it. I love doing these lives. I think my next live is going to be Monday. I think it's going to be about it's going to be about 5 o'clock Eastern time on Monday afternoon. And please tell the world that I'm doing this. Spread the word that Bruce is live. I like to go live daily if I can, and I'll bring you the latest information on cruise ships, deals, packages, tips, costs, fears, and I'll answer any question I can on the spot for you to help you with your cruise and help you figure out what's going on, because there's so much to know about cruising, and yet it's easy. It really is easy. A lot of it's common sense. If you're going on a cruise, you're going to love it. Thanks again for watching today. We'll see you next time on Traveling with Bruce. Have a great weekend, everybody.